Okay, tonight I want to cover the topic of comparing and contrasting childhood morality with adult morality, and talking about authority, obedience, motivation, and greatest conflict. When talking about moral maturity, the main thing you need to understand is that there's a huge difference between childhood morality and adult morality. And really, it's during the junior and senior year, our hope is that our students are moving from a childhood sense of morality to an adult sense of morality. The biggest difference between childhood morality and adult morality is that in childhood morality, authority is really external. And what that means is a child's morality is based on reward and punishment that they receive from their parents or their teachers or eventually their peers for the behaviors that they exhibit. So when a little kid does something wrong, they get in trouble, and when they do something that is good, they receive praise. So really, they're acting in ways that are good and not in ways that are evil because they want to receive the praise and to avoid the punishment. All right, so they're obedient to their parents when they're little, and then as they grow up, they're obedient to their teachers, and then to their coaches, and eventually to their peers. So even when many high school students feel like they're really grown up because they are no longer doing everything that their parents tell them to, they've just changed the audience that they obey. So instead of obeying their parents and teachers, maybe they're obeying their peer group. So if you look at your average freshman in high school, their idea of morality is really very tacit. It's based on reward and punishment. So if I do something good, I get rewarded, and if I do something that is wrong, I receive a punishment. So you might have some freshmen in the class that are being obedient to their parents, and other ones that are being more obedient to their teachers, and others that are being more obedient to their peer group. But really, everybody's just acting in a way that gains praise from the group that is most important to them, and avoids punishment from the group that is most important to them. All right. One of the things that normally happens in high school is that young people begin to realize that they cannot please their parents and their teachers and their peer group and their coaches all at the same time. They end up getting a disconnect where their parents want them to do one thing, maybe their teachers want them to do something else, find something else more important. Their peers find something else more important, and they have this great conflict that they find themselves acting differently in front of each group to try to please each group. And they feel like they're running around as fast as they can trying to please all these different groups, and they just can't do it. All right? That's actually a really good thing because it leads to maturity. At some point, hopefully, instead of just choosing one group to follow, a young person will decide that there's no way that they can please their parents and their teachers and their coaches and their peer group all at the same time. And so an internal explosion of sorts happens, and they decide for themselves that they need to decide who and what they're going to become and what type of person they're going to become, what values they're going to incorporate into their own life. And so when a kid is little, the authority for their morality is really external. So other people are telling them what is good and what is bad, and they are doing what they're being told by others so that they can receive reward from whoever is important to them and avoid punishment from whoever is important to them. When a child is ready to move into adulthood, when they realize that they can't please all these people all the time, and they end up finding that they are miserable trying to please all these people at the same time, what happens, hopefully, is that they decide to internalize their own values. So they look at their parents and they say, these are the things that my parents do that really seem to work well. These are the values that they have that I would like to incorporate into my own life. These are the values that perhaps my parents have that maybe I don't want to incorporate into my own life. And these are the values that I see from some of my beloved teachers that I would like to emulate. And these are some of the values that they have that I don't want. So, and the same thing with the peer group, the same thing with coaches and whatnot. And that's why in high school it's so important for young people to be surrounded by people who share their values and can model positive role models for them so that they can decide who and what they actually want to become. So when a person crosses over from childhood morality to adult morality, they internalize the authority. And so their obedience, they begin, instead of being obedient to what other people want them to do, they find themselves being obedient to a set of personal values and principles that they want to live by. And their motivation to continue living by these values is integrity and self-worth and care for others. Now, when a kid is in childhood morality, the most difficult thing that they face are the times when they're trying to please their parents and their coaches and their teachers all at the same time, and it becomes very difficult in their peer group. And everybody's rules and expectations differ, so that brings great conflict. When an adult has the greatest conflict in values is when their personal gain or their self-protection is at risk if they follow their integrity. Okay, so it's very easy for a person to decide, for an adult to decide that they are going to be honest in all of their affairs. But then when a situation presents itself where being honest is really going to cost them a lot, that's when they realize if they actually have the value of honesty. Because they will only act in an honest way if that's something that they own. If someone says, well, I'm going to be honest all the time except for when it costs me something, they really are a very dishonest person, because the only reason someone would be dishonest is if being honest would cost them something. So if a person has decided to be honest in all of their affairs, if they have decided to act with integrity and honor, if they have decided to honor all of their commitments in their life, these things are easy to do when things are going well. But when your back is up against the wall and you have to choose whether or not you want to follow your integrity and your values and the principles that you've set up for yourself, even when following those values and principles cost you a great deal, that's when you really know if you have the value. And that's really when self-worth comes. We realize we gain happiness and self-worth and an understanding of ourselves when sticking up for what we believe in actually costs us something and we do it anyway. All right, that's the thing that brings pride and joy and contentment into our life more than anything else. It makes us proud of ourselves, so it gives us self-worth. All right.